All right, thank you for staying with us. It's still Saturday's edition of Your View, and we will be looking through the papers at this point. I begin with the Nation newspaper and some interesting stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Let's take some of them. I'll begin with the major headlines. I'll follow Umaru Yar'Adua's example as President Tinubu, that's the president-elect, speaking. And then another story here says Ekweremadu wife, doctor jailed 24 years in London. The writer here, you each played a part in that despicable trade that preys on the poverty, misery, and desperation of vulnerable people. And then another story here, Buhari world leaders gather in London for King Charles III coronation. That is happening today. We also have another story, Senate President, APC leaders backing Akpabio South says Ganduje Umahi steps down for ex-Akwa Ibom governor. And just to take one or two stories here on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Today is the coronation of King Charles III, and President Buhari is part of those who will be present at that event, talking about the Commonwealth nations. They have some representatives there. And this is happening 70 years after.
Wow.
Yes. And so history is being made again today. Now we're having King Charles III and his wife, that's the Camilla, who is the Queen Consort, will also be crowned Queen today. And a lot of persons who did not witness that this 70 years ago will be witnessing this, looking forward to the anointing, even though that will be done behind closed doors. Yeah. And then we also have the oath of allegiance, the homage, and all of that. That will be happening later today. Right. So, and we know that the budget that was spent, you were talking about that.
250 million.
250 million pounds.
Too high.
Absolutely. And that is some of the questions being raised by persons, if it is necessary to have this kind of elaborate celebration. All right, another story here. Which story do you have?
Well, sorry, as regards the budget, I just think like they've been saving for the past 70 years, or quote and unquote. I mean, they
were preparing for this.
Yes, in the last 70 years. So I do feel that no amount is too, I mean, for it. So
you know why? Because there is what we have on the currency is no longer the Queen's head. Now it's going to be
they have to change.
They have to change. So a lot of changes are being made. And that is why they have to spend as much. So that is why there is the question of, do we have to spend this much? How much it is costing us and all of this. That's why they're talking about the expenses. Though some persons will be making money out of it because of those who will be providing souvenirs during the celebration. And so the streets are painted as it is, and everyone is having tea parties and all of that. So, well, it's one of the prizes that comes with the coronation.
And another thing that has happened on the street is that, okay, there's so much agitations for pay rise. And the question is, why spend as much as this when you can give a quarter to the health system? So it's a two-way street thing. Some people feel, oh, it's worth the trouble because it's since 70 years. But some people think, okay, do we have to go the whole hog, spending this stupendous amount for a coronation?
Right.
And for the younger generation, there's
not
on the streets that they don't care.
Right. But there are those who still want to look at, who are excited about what is happening because they were not here 70 years ago. So this is quite new to them. So it will be part of history.
So, you know, we say congratulations to UK on the coronation of
Charles III.
The third.
Yes, and his wife.
Queen Camilla. It's been long.
Right. Do you have any other story here?
No, I don't have in the Nation. All
right. This Ekweremadu story, he and his wife and doctor were jailed 24 years in London. All right, Ekweremadu has about 10 years and 4 months jail term.
6 years.
His wife is 4 years jail term, and the doctor has 10 years.
10 years.
jail term, all of it making 24 years. Now, we recall the story was about they trying to get, you know, a kidney, a donor for their daughter, who is now feeling guilty.
Yeah.
The daughter is now feeling guilty that her parents are going through this situation. And she said in an interview I read that she wasn't part of the process of finding a donor. Now it is complicated for her to get a donor because of the genes and all of it that has to do with people from her father's side, her father's genes and all of that. So that is why there is some level of complication with finding the right donor. So now the guy who was taken to the UK, he is saying that he is scared to return to Nigeria now with this situation, with the sentencing, and that he feels that his life is not safe, and so he's seeking asylum in the UK. Well, we wonder how that will turn out at the end of the day, because there are different sides to the stories now. Some are saying that he actually did this to gain what he wanted. He had some other intention. Yes, and so, but then it's a sad one for Ekweremadu, for someone of his status, for someone who has garnered a lot of experience. One would expect that he wouldn't find himself in this kind of situation. But then it is said that he was being desperate. But unfortunately, the laws of the land in the UK is saying that desperation does not make you innocent in this matter. All right, let's move to the punch. Yeah, quickly, you can
I listened to the daughter speak on BBC, and it broke my heart. The way she spoke about it, she felt so bad. And the question that keeps coming to my mind, now that these people are behind bars or they're going to serve jail terms, so what happens to the process? Is she going to stop? Because what she said was that the condition, I can't really recollect the medical terms now, that is either she lives with it for the rest of her life,
she is on dialysis.
or she gets a transplant. So now that this has happened, the question is, from the human aspect, so what happens? Will the process stop? Will the nation leave her to herself and say, okay, sort these things out?
Well, our organization is going to pick.
I believe that there are persons who would want to step in at this point. Recall that even the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, and members of the Senate, as well as House of Representatives, have sent letters before this sentencing. So now that they have seen the sentence, there are some well-meaning Nigerians who would want to step in to see how they can, you know, save the situation and help push to see how they can get a donor for her. Else she will have to be on dialysis for the rest of her life.
Dialysis is not cheap.
Yeah, it isn't. It's really, really sad. It's really sad.
It's a sad one.
Yeah.
It's a sad one. All right, so we move to the Punch newspaper, Saturday Punch. Federal government begins Aso Villa renovation ahead Tinubu's inauguration. May 29th, we are already counting down. And some riders here, President's Office residents, Council Chamber wear new coats of paint. And some other story here, APC Tinubu favor Akpabio as Senate President, Abbas Speaker. I won't renounce citizenship again despite Tinubu's victory. Lagos ex-deputy governor is speaking. And parents at last, celebs who had children after long wait. Then this story here, drivers, officials at Egyptian border treated us like criminals. Sudan returnees are speaking. Who has what story here?
I have the story of the renovation going on at Aso Villa.
All right.
And I don't feel that it's necessary, although reading through the story, you could now see figures that are somehow, I mean, mind-blowing, right? Based on the fact that, you know, they had these renovations going on every year and several costs had been allocated to it in previous years. But I think it's a good one for the fact that, I mean, this is a new dispensation, really, just like our regular homes in Nigeria. When we have a new guest or we want to show forth something, I mean, so we try to do a little bit of house cleaning, and I think it's so.
It's important that it is done.
It is done, yes, but the question of the amount being spent, is it necessary?
It's another,
yes, it's another
topic entirely.
Exactly.
All right, let's quickly go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue looking through the paper headlines. Stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. So we are still looking through the newspaper headlines. This time we're moving to the front page of Saturday Vanguard. And the major story here says, as Buhari leaves, bandits occupy more territories. Over 2 million IDPs in despair. How President spent 8 trillion naira in non-existent subsidy. And then we have another story here, 137 killed, 57 abducted during 2023 election. A report is giving us that figure. And then the UK court jails Ekweremadu, 9 years, 8 months, organ trafficking, the same story we had spoken about earlier. Another story here says, new test detects cancer 1 year before tumor grows. Another story here, trapped in war zone, untold stories of Nigerians fleeing Sudan's armed conflicts. And then we also have experts loud on what Tinubu should do before oil subsidy goes. All right, Clara, you have a story here.
Yes, I have a story on the detection of tumors a year before it grows. And I'll just read the first paragraph. A new blood test is designed to detect specific markers which show changes in the behavior of stem cells that are precursors to cancer mutations. So scientists have developed blood, how to test it and all that. My take where I'm going exactly is this, especially for us Africans and black people and in Nigeria. We always run away from tests.
Yes.
Well, oh, God forbid, it's not my portion. It's not my portion. It's not my portion. Yes, we're very religious.
When it comes to things like
Go
this.
for your blood test. Go and do your screening. Go, it's better for you to go and they tell you there's nothing wrong with you. Than to wake up one hot afternoon and something is wrong.
And it has gotten
and you are blaming it on one witch that is in the village
people.
From my father's side, from my mother's side, from my auntie's side. That black woman near my street, near the street corner is the one behind my ordeal. Go for your blood tests. Go for your scaling and polishing. I do my yearly test. I take it seriously. Cervical screening, I go. I do everything every year. I do my blood test because so many things can be detected from the blood test.
Right.
When you go for instance, dental scaling and polishing, there are so many things they can detect by just looking at your mouth. The dentist.
Yes.
So many things. Just go at least twice a year. Set some money aside to do these things. It's not enough to say, oh, I'm okay, I'm fine, I don't have money. It is better for you to, preventive measures are cheaper than when you have to spend money.
To cure.
To cure. It's very, very important. Check these things. Do self-breast examination on a monthly basis. It doesn't cost you anything. And life could be saved if it's detected early.
Absolutely.
So that's my take on that. That's why it really resonates with me, because it's something that is close to my heart and that I want everybody, especially in Africa and in Nigeria, to practice.
It's a good development to see that this can be done before the whole system breaks down because of cancer. We know the attendant effect on the system and how much it costs to treat cancer in areas like Africa, Nigeria, and all of it. But once you can do the test, it saves you a lot of money. Bottom line, that's what it is.
And then I do think that, okay, so for this new technology being discovered, or new innovation being discovered in the healthcare, my question would be that how soon would Africans or Nigerians have access to this kind of technology or in involvement in technology?
Okay, from my experience that I've seen in Luth, from my experience, you'll be surprised at how much that Luth is doing in areas of research. You just need to ask.
Access.
Yes.
You just need to ask. It's just this, our attitude of, okay, if I don't know, it's not going to hurt me. Let me just cover it.
Exactly.
Until it becomes a kind of hydra-headed monster before we come out to shout. You'll be surprised if you go to Luth and you just say you want to see the public relation officer. He's there.
You may have to wait.
There are processes that a lot of persons
so,
do not want to follow. They want to just cut corners and get away. But then we need to start looking at making things easy for a lot of Nigerians. Access to healthcare is very important.
Absolutely.
And so if we make it easy, a lot of persons will be encouraged to do the test. So if we have something like that in Nigeria, it will be quite encouraging.
I just believe that when you want to go to government hospital to make inquiries, just make sure you dedicate the full day.
Exactly.
All right. Exactly. We need to quickly move on now to the front page of the Saturday Sun. And the major story here is NAS leadership, that's National Assembly leadership, ripples over APC governor's endorsement, position contradicts National Working Committee's stance. Tears for Ekweremadu. Ogun herbalist, I never used my dead kids for ritual, but I can't recall where I buried them. Presidential Election Tribunal commences sitting Monday. Sudan, 130 more Nigerian evacuees arrive Abuja. Soldier kill bandits in Niger, rescue over 30 abducted persons. Do you have any story here as the front page of the Daily Sun?
No, I don't.
All right, I just want to quickly touch on this story on Sudan. Some Nigerians came in that were evacuated from Sudan came in yesterday after the first batch that came in on Wednesday night. And it is being reported that there are no more Nigerians in the war-torn part of the country, that is Khartoum. And they have been talking about their stories. We'll be looking at that later when we get to the next paper, which is Saturday Tribune. And the major story here is organ harvesting case. UK court, Ekweremadu falls from grace, slams him 9 years, 8 months jail, says pleas for ex-president, Senate President, Reps, Bishop, others reduced his punishment. And about his speaking here, my claim on Asorok demonic attacks is not fiction. Oshun governorship war as unknown man baits in daylight at APC Secretariat. Supreme Court sits on Monday. Key moments in King Charles' coronation today. Police arrest suspected criminals at Alaba market site. Set hideout on fire. Who has what story here? Saturday Tribune, no story.
I have it in the Sun.
On the front, I just finished.
Okay.
With the Sun. What story did you have in the channel?
No, sibling rivalry.
Oh, all right. That was why I wanted us to look at the stories, take note of your stories. But then we have to go on a break now.